don't give up on yourself and just fuel yourself up with knowledge. Be willing to change, do something different, and just know that you can reinvent yourself.
It's the Health in the Real World podcast. It's time to start the show with Janke as your host. Here to give you everything that you need when it comes to fitness strategies. We keep it simple and easy. It's your roadmap to get healthy. You don't need equipment and you don't need a gym. Just the right strategies to get you fit and trim.
Welcome to Health in the Real World. We are here today with Julia Nadolski. Julia, how are you?
I'm good, Chris. How are you?
Good. Thank you so much for joining me today. You have a great story, and I really like to showcase people's stories. You're not only a trainer, but you have a really good, inspiring personal story. Can you give us a little bit of intro about that, and then we can dive into this?
Sure. So my name is Julia. I'm a NASM certified personal trainer, and my mission revolves around empowering people through fitness. I have a wide background in the fitness space as a former dancer, volleyball player, and track athlete. So I dabbled in a lot of different things, but my passion lies in strength training. So basically anyone with weight loss or strength gain goals, that's my specialty. But as for myself, throughout adolescence, I struggled with an eating disorder, which developed when I was around 11 years old. And since then, it's just been difficult for me to navigate along my path of figuring out what works for me in terms of nutrition and fitness and just, I guess, finding my way to have a healthy relationship with that. And so it started off, of course, as a very unhealthy relationship with a lot of restriction and not really knowing what to do. I found myself doing the same workouts over and over again. There was no variety. I just didn't know how to program. I just had no idea how all of that works. And on top of that, I had a very restrictive diet. So I was basically getting nowhere. And my goals were skewed in and of themselves in terms of spot reduction with fat and muscle building, which as personal trainers, we know it doesn't work like that. So eventually, after spontaneously just trying a ton of different workouts on YouTube, trying to find something I liked and just anything that would just guide me along some kind of path, I came across Sydney Cummings. And at first I just kind of did the workouts that I wanted to do, that I knew I would feel strong in, because I wouldn't dare do a legs workout because, it made me feel weak and out of control, which that was a big driving force as part of my eating disorder, which was anorexia, just having control. But eventually, after hearing Sydney say over and over again that she programs her daily workouts strategically, she earned my trust, and I started following that, and it really changed me physically and mentally. And it challenged me. It wasn't just a quick fix, but it really challenged me to see that from a different angle. And so I was just intrigued by the fact that I didn't have to do abs every day to see results. And being the detail-oriented person that I am, I just wanted to figure out how all of that works, how to program and schedule things around. And I started to delve into anatomy and how the human body and brain works. And since then, I just really fell in love with the beauty of fitness. And I realized a lot of people are in that place where they're lost along their journey and not really knowing what to do. So I guess my pain became my purpose, and now I'm sharing that with others.
I love that. That's actually what I was going to say is, and you just said it, my pain became my purpose. I love that. It's like you had all these questions about health, fitness, and what to do, and you learned it, and now you help other people do it. So that's fantastic.
Yeah.
So is there a story specifically that maybe I don't want to say like a rock bottom moment where you really said all right, I really have to pull myself up out of this, and like a moment in your past that was like the catapult to leading you to where you are now? Is there anything you can think of that was kind of that rock bottom moment?
So it was just honestly a matter of successive moments. Considering that I had many relapses just about every year along my journey of recovering from anorexia. Just every time I kind of I started losing my hair. I really started to feel fatigued to the point where like I felt like if I got up out of my chair, I would just, I would just I would just fall on the ground, just after being like, I'm just sick and tired of this. I'm so tired of being tired. It just kind of boosted my recovery again and just helped me take those steps to recover again. But in terms of becoming a fitness professional, it just it was honestly the pandemic that really caused me to delve into myself and my passion, what I wanted to do, got rid of a lot of distractions. I was in school at the time, I was working a job. So, like, my schedule was full, and I didn't have time to sit down with myself and kind of reassess what I wanted to do with myself. But once that kind of came to a halt with the pandemic, I was like, okay, what actually interests me? What sets me on fire? And um, and that's when I started going even more into anatomy and the human body. And I was like, you know what, this is it. I really love this. And so there wasn't really a rock bottom moment, but the relapses and the realization that came with the pandemic pushed me to where I am today.
Nice. So I'm really intrigued actually by this, that, you were struggling with anorexia and you do strength training. So it's like I know we were talking about this before, when you work out, lifting weights or even body weight, your food intake needs to go up because you want to gain that muscle, you want to recover properly. That seems like a big tug of war right there, that half of you is like eat much less and half of you is like eat more. And how did you reconcile that? Like, what was your thought process going through your mind? What has helped you sort of to overcome that tug of war?
So once I started working out the proper way, following a program, I really fell in love with the process of growing stronger. And that overcame my desire to, I guess, to restrict, to lose weight, because it really became my leverage. When I wasn't getting stronger, when I was feeling more fatigued, it really pushed me to look within myself and be like, okay, what's going on? Is it something with your mental health? Are you restricting again? And it really brought me back to reality, because anorexia can be blinding sometimes, and you're kind of caught in this little cycle. And it's rewarding in the short term because the eating disorder gets what it wants, but in all other aspects of life, especially in terms of growing stronger, which really meant a lot to me, um, it really wasn't rewarding. So it was definitely tough trying to balance that, but I wanted to get stronger more than I wanted to continue fueling my eating disorder. So it was a matter of prioritization, and it wasn't like I made these drastic changes overnight, but just adding a few more calories, every week or every month, it racks up, and then um, it's it's very rewarding to feel yourself growing stronger, and the energy that you get from actually fueling yourself, feeds on itself, and you become happier, you're in a better mood, and you actually want to move around, and you have this energy towards and passion towards your workouts instead of dreading them. So like I said, growing stronger became the priority.
That's great. And really want to pull that out of what you just said, because this is really important. People who have what they consider a bad habit, whether it's a diagnosable condition like what you had, or alcohol, drugs, procrastination, whatever it is, it's tempting. And I think it's very easy on the surface for people to say, well, I need to stop doing this. But stopping behavior is really not very inspiring for people, right? It's like, oh, I need to stop this. It's something that obviously some part of me wants to do, but I need to stop it. So I think that's great that you basically came up with an empowering alternative, an alternative that you wanted more. You wanted to gain muscle and strength more than you wanted to limit your calories. And I think that is really, I don't know all the details of what you went through, but from everything I've seen in, I've been a trainer since 2004. Everything I've seen from behavior modification, it's, you can't just stop doing something long term. Short term, sure. Yeah. For 3 months while you're trying to fit in your wedding dress, maybe you don't eat as much as you did, but eventually you're going to want to eat more again. And I think that's great that you made that realization, and that strength, instead of saying, I have to stop doing this, you focused on something new. And I think that's really good.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people have the all or nothing mentality, and you can't just change habits that you've been practicing for even years sometimes overnight. And
Right.
it's a whole psychological game, and you have to be kind to yourself along that process too, because it really is difficult. And if you do cut off that habit, like you said, it's only going to be effective in the short term. And when you bounce back to those old habits, it's going to be even more frustrating. So it's about building confidence with yourself with those little wins in
Yeah.
life.
So I like that. Like the all or nothing is very, I think it can be very dangerous, because we think we have to be perfect. So when somebody does, let's say, fall off the wagon and whatever it is, whether they skip a bunch of workouts or they eat a huge chocolate cake by themselves or whatever it is, somebody falls off the wagon. Maybe it's a friend of yours, maybe it's a client of yours. What is your pep talk to them? What kinds of things do you say to them when they fall off the wagon?
Hop right back on, because you can fall off as many times as as you do, as you need to, because we're human, we're not perfect. But your true character shines through when you hop back on. However many times you choose to get back up and keep trying, because it teaches you something new every time, and you learn more about yourself and what you're truly capable of. So it's perfectly normal to just to relapse, to go back to those old habits, because they're, especially if they've been reinforced for a long time, they're going to be a part of you for a while. So don't beat yourself up and continue to take those little steps. If you did it once, you can do it again, and eventually it will become a habit in and of itself, and it will become habitual. So it's perfectly okay to do that, and it's nothing to really beat yourself up over.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's very key. I like, recently I've been saying now forward. So I've sort of been giving less weight to the past and saying, well, what am I going to do now forward? It doesn't matter what happened even this morning. Uh, and it's really about, what do I choose in this present moment? And with habits, with addictions, it sort of is easier to choose the habit sometimes because you've done it so many times. But I think that is really important that we remember that ultimately every single moment is a choice, and we really can redirect our lives at this moment going forward, right?
Exactly. And every single day is just another opportunity to reinvent yourself. Like, what happened yesterday, that's dead, that's done. And we can't go back and fix that, but we have full control over what we can do next time, in the next 5 minutes, in the next second. So it's just remembering that. And if you're just stuck in the past all the time, it's very hard to move forward and be grateful for the next opportunities that we have to do something different.
Yeah. And I think one big thing is forgiveness. I think the ability to forgive yourself, knowing that you did the best with what you had at that moment, and there's really no value in beating yourself up at all, like none. You can learn, well, what am I going to do now? What do I choose to do now based on what has already happened and I have no ability to change it? Nobody has a time machine. What can I do now forward? And I think that is where we really gain our power back, because oftentimes I've seen this, is that oftentimes nobody's beating us up except for ourselves. We're beating up ourselves a lot of times. When we're kids, our parents are, depending on if you had good parents, bad parents, whatever, or anywhere in between. I know that's like a subjective label, but our parents would give us criticism and feedback and sort of try to guide us in a certain direction, whether that was in a positive way or maybe yelling at us or whatever it was. And as adults, most of us don't have anybody over our shoulder telling us what to do or what it means or anything. We have this little thing in our head that's maybe a tape player of our parents going over and over again, but we really do have the ability to just forgive and move on. Like, forgive yourself, move on, right? Today is new. Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Julia, I want to give you a chance to go like even bigger picture. Talk not so much about health and fitness, although you can incorporate that if you want to, but more like life, the meaning of life, goals, things like that. If you were called in to, let's say, give like a motivational talk at a university or at a corporation or something like that, what is your, let's say, 1 to 2 minute motivational talk? What does that look like?
well, I would say that you are not tied to your mistakes. And that ties back into what we were just talking about. But you have the ability to move on, to move forward. And if anything, I'm a living example that you can progress from your struggles and use that pain to fuel up your passion. And that oftentimes becomes someone else's survival guide. So don't give up on yourself and just fuel yourself up with knowledge. Be willing to change, do something different, and just know that you can reinvent yourself, you can be different, you can make that change, but it's all up to you. And you're not chained to any type of reality. You don't have to be the person you were 5 minutes ago. And how you choose to present yourself and keep moving forward is the ultimate definition of your character.
Nice. I think that's great. I think again, it's great that you've taken a life situation that you have gone through and you're helping other people go through similar thing, getting stronger and sharing your story with people like me and anybody who watches this. And, I'm sort of reminded that's how I got into fitness in the first place as well. I always liked working out. I always liked sports, but when I was 14 years old, I bulged a disc in my lower back. And now it's funny because when I was 14, I had so much pain for like the next decade till I was in my early 20s. And now I'll be 41 in like 2 weeks. I feel better at 41, almost 41 than I did at 14, which is kind of funny.
Um,
But again, I've done kind of the same thing as you've done, is taken that knowledge and that experience and said, well, okay, now what I do is I help people get fit who are struggling with back pain, neck pain, or just tightness overall. And let's just make you feel good. Let's balance you out. So I can see you kind of going the same direction and helping people get through that situation and those choices, and you're gently guiding them as you have that experience with that. So that's really great.
yes, I mean, we become examples that it's possible, and just being that inspiration, being that role model. I mean, I feel like there's just nothing more fulfilling than that.
Yeah, absolutely. So Julia, somebody who wants to get in touch with you, your website, social media, how do they go about finding you?
Sure. So I'm pretty active on a lot of social media platforms. I'm mostly active on LinkedIn. You can find me under Julia Nadolski. And on my profile, you can access all the social media platforms that I'm active on. But I'm also part of a recent startup as well. It's called Endeavor Wellness Co. And we are offering a lot of wellness services, from personal training to corporate wellness. So it's still in the works, but exciting things are coming. I also accept emails under julianadolski02@gmail.com. And you can send me a text at 413-777-7102.
Nice. Awesome. Julia Nadolski, thank you so much for joining me today. Health in the Real World podcast.
Thank you so much, Chris.
Thanks for listening to the Health in the Real World show. Make sure to like and subscribe and comment down below. Visit mycorebalance.com to learn more.